Good evening. I'm Kimberly, and this is Totally Unbiased News, the only news program brave enough to ask both sides a direct question and then wait patiently while neither answers it. Tonight, we're joined by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, here to provide insight on today's biggest headlines and possibly redefine the word specific.
Um, I think uh I think it's important, we center the global narrative in a framework of intersectional stability and multilateral emotional infrastructure.
Wonderful! Let's begin. The latest Epstein files update dropped. More documents, more names, more internet detectives who skim 3 paragraphs and declare victory. Half the country says this proves everything. The other half says this proves nothing. And a third group says, why isn't this bigger? While live tweeting for 6 hours straight. No one has read all the files. Everyone has a conclusion. It's less a document release and more of a personality test. Congresswoman, what are your thoughts?
Um, I think I think, we must examine systems of power, secrecy, accountability, and also who amplified what at what time in the algorithmic hierarchy.
So, read the documents?
I think reading is one layer of justice.
You were at Munich. What was your takeaway?
I think democracy is fragile.
Is there a policy proposal?
I think, yes, protect democracy.
How?
I think, with more democracy.
That feels circular.
Um, I think, democracy is a circle, Kimberly.
Of course it is.
I think, we must fortify the multilateral architecture of values-based resilience through globally aligned civic empowerment.
That sounds like a scented candle. How do we end the war between Russia and Ukraine?
I think first we need to, acknowledge that, Donald Trump is basically, spiritually aligned with Vladimir Putin, and that energy alone destabilizes global peace.
Right. But what's the diplomatic plan?
I think the plan is accountability, justice, international solidarity, and not being Donald Trump.
So, negotiations?
I think did you not hear the part about not being Donald Trump?
There it is. Ask the left for a solution, and sometimes you get Trump as a mythological villain in a Marvel sequel. Now, ask a conservative strategist the same question, and you'll get something like, well, it's interesting you bring that up, because when Joe Biden was in office, 3 minutes later, we're talking about gas stoves, pronouns, and somehow trans swimmers are responsible for NATO expansion. It's incredible. You can ask about Eastern Europe and end up debating bathrooms in Kansas. Foreign policy now comes with a culture war combo meal. Trending again, Trump and alien disclosure. Supporters say he's the only one who would tell us the truth about extraterrestrials. Critics say if aliens land, we'll immediately divide them into red aliens and blue aliens. Some want full transparency. Others say the aliens are already moderating social media. Either way, if extraterrestrials are watching, they're definitely not landing during an election year. The censorship debate is heating up again. The left says misinformation is dangerous and platforms must intervene. The right says censorship is tyranny, and every deleted post is constitutional crisis. Meanwhile, the algorithm quietly promotes whichever take is angrier. Free speech now depends on whether your outrage converts to ad revenue. Remember the Rene Good and Alex Pretti saga? Last week, it was a civilization defining cultural reckoning. This week, it's silence. If it was the most urgent issue facing humanity 5 days ago, it's fascinating how humanity moved on without a summit. Was it a crisis or was it content?
I think it was an intersectional moment of accountability within a broader systematic narrative.
So, content. And finally, today is Ash Wednesday, a day of humility, reflection, and remembering our mortality, which feels appropriate because nothing reminds you of human fragility like watching cable panels argue about aliens, censorship, and documents no one has fully read. Some are fasting, some are tweeting, some are doing both and calling it civic engagement. Here's the pattern. Ask the left for specifics. You may get a moral framework starring Trump. Ask the right for specifics. You may get a Biden flashback and a detour into trans issues. Ask either for details, and you'll get confidence. Not answers, confidence. I'm Kimberly, and this has been Totally Unbiased News, where both sides are absolutely certain and the rest of us are absolutely tired.
I think I think certainty is
Of
intersectional.
course it is. Thanks for watching. Stay skeptical out there, America. Good night.